Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, let me see. Okay, we'll give it a few minutes and see if we can get people back in here from over
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
I get way more frustrated with things that are out of my control than I have to.
It happens, man, to the best of us. We can try not to let it get to us, but sometimes it just does. It's annoying. Things are annoying sometimes. You can't help it.
Yeah, it's like I do
Yeah,
my job when you pay me to do my job. You should do your job when I pay you to.
exactly. Exactly.
But it's like what is
Like you
really
literally get paid to
responsible?
do this.
Yeah, what is really responsible for a cable provider internet access outage? I have no idea.
Eh, Usually, you can call and complain. I don't know how it is there with that. We used to have there. Well, they have Cox Communications over in the other county. But anyway, you call and be like, I've had an outage or experienced an outage for this long or whatever, and they would give you a credit on that. So I don't know.
I don't want a credit. I want reliable internet service.
True. Don't
I
we
don't want
all?
my yeah.
We right? I mean, back in the day, you're like, what's that? And now it's like, it's not just like it's a necessity, right? It's not an option any longer. It's a viable utility that we need.
Yes.
Hello again, Jen. Welcome in. I'm
Yeah,
going
it
to
is.
mute
It is a
I'm sorry.
necessary utility. No, it's a necessary utility. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
monetized, but what if I was? What if I had
right.
1,000 people in chat and boom?
Well, yeah. And you have kids who have to get online and look up information and do reports. They are required to use the internet and the Wi Fi to do certain things. Even during the pandemic, when kids were having to go to school online and all the things, it became really apparent how important it was. And you got all the people who work from home. It's no longer just one of those optional things you get if you're lucky or fortunate, to afford. It's like you need it. Good, reliable, darn internet, man, just like phone service. We demand it.
Yes.
Um, Let me go check on my grandson real quick, and then I'll be back, and we'll be good to go. I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good. I'll
Okay.
be here holding down the fort
All right.
if I
We'll give
can.
it a minute and see if we can get some more people in here, and you can. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So as I was explaining to Salty, that was really frustrating. Um, Going down 3 times in one, and then so asked my son about it, and he showed me screen caps of, you might be experiencing an internet outage. Might be. No, I think we are. Um, so I already have another internet provider lined up to install. We'll see what Cox Communications has to say about this outage, because my son's lived here almost a year now, and he said this is the first outage that has affected him. So maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I have a I have a short fuse for service providers that don't do their job or that let me down. Um, Especially in the middle of doing something. And this is just, I mean, it's just social media. It's just a live stream. I'm not monetized. Salty isn't monetized, so it doesn't affect us financially at all. It's just frustrating. I'm sure you all can relate. Let's give a few more minutes for people to see if they can migrate their way over. Ladybird Lake is an interesting new mystery to solve. I really didn't know a whole lot about it until I I was going to make this cross country trip, almost not quite cross country, but across several states, 7 or 8 states, and dip down to unsolved mysteries in Austin or in Texas, kind of along my route, kind of not. And the mystery just keeps getting more mysterious. And once again, like being in Delphi and Carroll County, it was different having boots on the ground. Um, Being able to walk along Lady Bird Lake during the daytime first and then at night gives a whole new perspective to it. So I like solving mysteries, but what I'm finding out through this medium, through social media, is that being able to take people there live to see for themselves is pretty cool. I dig it. I want to do more of it. Hey, JC, good to see you in here. Glad you dropped in. We're waiting for Salty to come back. She took a little quick break right when we got started. So we're just talking about this Lady Bird Lake mystery. 13 bodies now, with the one found this morning, 13 bodies in the last 3 years. Most of them were males, 11 of the 13 were males, but 2 have been unidentified females. So the locals have theories that it's a serial killer, that somebody is targeting the LGBTQ community, that there may be a local bartender or a local patron at one of the bars that is drugging the drinks. And then once the people get roofied, then they either get beat up, and there have been 2 survivors who both have similar stories about not remembering the night before, but waking up nearly dead along the banks of the Lady Bird Lake. So there's still a mystery to be solved, but the big thing in my mind right now, which is similar to Delphi, Carroll County, Abby and Libby, the Richard Allen trial, is that the police are not giving satisfaction to a lot of people who are following the case, that they're investigating it thoroughly, that they're investigating it accurately, that they're being completely honest and open with the public about their findings. There are so many of the 13 bodies, there are so many of them that are undetermined, or quote unquote no foul play suspected, or quote unquote accidental drowning. JC, I'm not really sure if most of them are. I don't have enough information to know. I know there are probably at least a couple of them that are LGBTQ, and there are lots of local theories about bars in that area, and there are certain LGBTQ prominent bars or nightclubs in that area. But as of right now, most of us don't have any idea, any clue about where they were, what bars they went to, what bars they frequented the night before, the days before, the weeks before they turned up missing and then ended up dead or nearly dead along Lady Bird Lake. So I got to visit part of the nightclub area on Rainy Street last Saturday night. It's definitely a short stretch of street. Socialite crowd, but there's also more areas of nightclubs northwest of there, like north of Cesar Chavez Drive or Road or whatever it's called, and east, immediately east and west of Congress Avenue. So I would be really curious to see where these people were the night before they ended up missing.
Yeah, right? Sorry, guys. I got in there to check on my grandson, and then he needed one of those little Kraft mac and cheese cups. He had to have one of those and all. Yeah, so he's good to go now. So sorry for the interruption there. Um, welcome, JC. Welcome in, guys. So, JC, I don't know if you heard, but there was another victim body found this morning. It was a unidentified. Yeah, Joe, I would be curious to know were they all um, at the bars on Rainy Street? Were they at specific bar locations? Um, what type of bars were they, and that things like that to look into. We know a couple with one victim. His brother went and found video footage of from where he was at. What was the Lustry Pearl? How do you pronounce it? Is that what it was?
It's luster. They're just trying to be fancy with
Yeah,
a
yeah,
regular
the
word, and it,
Luster Pearl, and there was so we know a location or two where a few of them were, but not enough of them to know their like movements the whole night. I don't even know if they cared to look into their movements from the night um, to get a feel for that kind of thing. It's crazy. Um,
it is.
I have let's see. Go ahead.
And that night, I think one of the things that was notable to me, Jen, was I was actually looking for locals that I could interview and ask their opinion about what they thought of it. And the vast majority of locals, like 95% or higher, would not even make eye contact with me. Like there was one couple that had like a little cowboy hat vendor thing out in front of the live music club, and I just went over and I started talking to them whether or not they were going to make eye contact with me, and they were kind enough to speak with me for 5 minutes or so and give me their opinion on it. They'd been locals for 4 years, but literally almost every single other local that I ran across would not even make eye contact with me, let alone be open to a conversation of any kind, let alone open to a conversation on, while I was recording live. So it's, you see a lot on social media about the locals' opinions about it, but you never know how that is accurately reflected in how the true locals really think, far and wide.
Yeah. Um, Sorry, I was looking at a map that I had run across on this website. Well, it's not really a website. What is this? I'll share it with you guys. Um, well, let me get that. Okay, there we go. This is, let's see, that's from the Fox News. I think this is an analysis of deaths in Lady Bird Lake. I think this came out in 2024, but let me present and see if I can get this up here. Okay, you guys can see that well. All right. So it's a read along. You can read. So this is August of 2024, and it says the background. Lady Bird Lake was formerly known as Town Lake and located in Austin, Texas. It is connected to the Colorado River and is a man-made lake created for the city's power plant in 1960. Oh, so it's a man-made lake. Okay. Starting around the late 2000s, early 2010s, there have been a series of bodies being found in the lake. In more recent years, the discovery of the victims has increased at an alarming rate. Due to this, public concern has grown and has led a few to theories surrounding the lake, Rainey's, Rainy Street District, the victims, and the Austin Police Department. Um, I guess this is like a YouTube video that's embedded here. We'll look at that in just a sec. Crime statistics, Lady Bird Lake serial killer theory. While the citizens of Austin are concerned with the possibility of a killer or killers roaming the streets looking for the next victim, the Austin Police Department has dismissed such concerns and say the deaths are unrelated and are simply acts of suicide or accidents caused by excessive drinking or consumption of drugs. The Austin Police Department has gone on record to state no foul play is suspected in the deaths. They do say that over and over. During my research, I was unable to find enough data in relation to counts of suicides, drowning, or death by overdose. Fortunately, the Austin Police Department does provide statistics for homicides and robberies in Travis County, which is the county Austin finds itself within. I included robberies in my search because many are city and wouldn't be a far-fetched idea to think there is a connection between the robberies and these deaths. And who, let's see, give credit where credit's due. The research, Jacqueline Torres, this is her article, so I'm assuming this is her work. Anyway, there's a couple of maps there that um, and as clearly shown in the map above, there are high concentrations of both homicides and robberies within the downtown area of Austin. Yet there are hardly any homicides reported near or on the lake. Part of this may be due to the police not reporting the bodies found as homicides in the first place, yet robberies are being reported near the lake. Hmm. Robberies in the city of Austin is missing the year 2021 due to no available data from the Austin police records. Interesting. That year only, what happened? Now, these are some of the victims. This is the gentleman I was telling you about that was 2008, right? So there you got have him. And when I looked, it said uneasy death. And I was like, what in the world? So I clicked on it to read, of course. And it says, according to Austin Police Department, Sergeant Joe Schmoe, the death of Austin school teacher and peace activist Raed Hamad remains under investigation. He says the homicide investigators are open to all possibilities, but the initial investigation reflects that Hamad appears to have committed suicide. Hamad had been reportedly missing by his family on Monday night, April 14th, and partly by means of a cell phone GPS search authorized by his wife. His car was found Tuesday afternoon in a parking lot off South Lakeshore Boulevard on the south side of Lady Bird Lake. A land and water search turned up nothing, but a little after 2 p.m. on Wednesday, passers-by on the hike and bike trail on the opposite side of the lake, just east of the I-35 bridge, spotted a body floating near the shore. Hamad's eyes were covered in duct tape. His legs and his hands were bound. So this is the
Wait,
one
wait,
I was.
wait, 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 wait,
Yeah.
wait.
Mhm.
So he bound his legs and his hands and his eyes with duct tape and then unalived himself.
Yes, this is the one I brought up on your stream. We were over on your stream earlier, and I said the one that early victim from 2008. This was him, and that I said I glanced at the article and it said mentioned suicide, but then I had read his eyes were duct tape and his limbs were bound. I'm like, how do you?
Hands and legs.
How,
Okay, so just
how's that
imagine
suicide?
this. So say you're going to drown yourself, and you're going to drown yourself by duct taping yourself together. So okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going with their theory. So duct tape your legs, and then you put duct tape over your eyes, and then you bind your hands together with duct tape. How does that work? Where are
Yeah,
your other hands to bind your hands together? Like even without unaliving yourself, like how do you bind your own hands
I'm
together?
sorry. There's been people unalive themselves in all kind of ways, but taping up your eyes, taping up your legs, and then somehow getting your hands taped up. Do you do your feet, legs first, I guess, so you can still see, then your eyes, and then maybe your hands, Lord, and then
No,
you
you can't. You can't
jump
if
in
you
the
don't
lake?
have hands. If you don't have hands, you can't duct tape your own hands together with your
Well, I don't
mouth.
know
Do
if
you do
you.
it with your
Yeah,
mouth?
I mean, I guess if you were determined, damn it. But no, no, I don't buy it either. It's
It's like
ridiculous.
it gives Harry Houdini and David Copperfield a run for their money.
I'm saying, for real. Like that when I read that earlier today, I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. One minute you're suicide, the next minute he's all taped up. I'm like, what? I can't wrap my head around that one um, at all. So that was weird. Um, let's see what it said. Let's see. Eyes were covered in duct tape. His legs and his hands were also bound. Fueling internet amplified rumors that he had been murdered. According to a report that day by KXAN TV News, park goers who saw the body said the death did not look accidental. They said the man's face was wrapped with duct tape and his arms appeared to be tied in front of his body. On Thursday, April 17th, APD released a statement saying the bindings of his hands and legs and placement of the tape were consistent with Hamad having done this to himself.
Oh, for crying out loud! And I
Lord,
could that
mm,
this is like Doug Carter level of two sketches
Ellen,
are going to merge into the same suspect.
right? Ellen Greenberg's stuff, she did this to herself, all these crazy stabs to herself in the back, no. Uh, Mm.
Okay, there are three ways that he unalived himself, and they're they're consistent with him binding himself. How do you bind your
They
own
get
hands? I mean,
this I'm telling y'all, Austin Police Department, within minutes, they got everything figured out. They're that
right.
damn good.
Well, you notice the news report is kind of going along with it. They're saying there are rumors that it didn't
Mhm.
look like an accidental death. Rumors. There are people standing there going, "Dude, this guy did not bind his own hands and
It
legs and eye
and
and
what makes it consistent? I guess the placement of the tape were consistent with him having done this to himself. What about that was consistent? Was the tape off a little bit? Was it waterlogged? What the hell? No, make. Did y'all even test this tape for anything? Wow. Um, so Shakan told the Chronicle that additional evidence, including a security video of the parking area where Hamad's car was found and statements from persons who knew him that he had been experiencing suicidal thoughts, also support a finding of suicide, but that police were waiting for completion of the entire investigation, including the full autopsy and toxicology report, which will take several weeks. For all intents and purposes, as far as we know right now, Chacon said this week, this was a suicide. Mm. An autopsy was performed by Travis County Chief Medical Examiner David Dolanak, generating yet another controversy over official autopsy procedures. On April 17th, when Hamad's body was transported by funeral home from the medical examiner's office to the Islamic Center of Greater Austin on Manor Road, um, it was in barbaric condition, one that he had never seen in 20 years of preparing bodies for burial. Wow. Jamali said the body was seeping, oh, trigger warning, guys, a little graphic, was seeping blood from one incision on a deceased person and was inadequately sutured. Oh, goodness gracious. And in spots, the flesh was torn as though an animal might have attacked him. What in the world? Where'd this come from? This is going to require a little more inquiring. What? Joe, have you heard of this one? This case?
no.
Uh-uh. He said two experienced colleagues working with him panicked at the sight of the corpse and left the room. He had to use towels and tape to clean the body and to pad the brain cavity and the torso in order to make it presentable for burial. Goodness.
Are you scrolling on your window?
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. I am. You guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing over there, are you? What
I
in the
don't
world
think so.
is, why is it stuck? Let me, hang on again and see what happens. Yeah, it's that same piece I'm reading from it. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So I'm reading from here, and we just read these parts here. Um, okay, we'll go back to here. In order to make it presentable for burial, he later demanded and received a meeting with Dolinak and the APD chief. Afterward, Jamali and Dolinak each told Chronicle they believed the meeting was useful and should lead to better medical examiner practices. He said he cannot accept the apology offered by Dolinak for any misunderstandings or mistakes. I believe they were sending us a message, he said, and that's what I told the people here at the the mosque. They believe they don't need to respect the bodies of Muslims. Oh Lord, no. So the medical examiner did some really bad work on this victim and sent it off for burial in really bad shape, I'm gathering. And this
Yeah.
was way back in 2008. But yeah, so they chalked that up to suicide with tape all over himself. It's ridiculous.
Well, and apparently there might have been an anti-Muslim leaning from the agencies, maybe in that area. I mean, if they did an autopsy on the body and they didn't treat it with the same care that they do other bodies, then maybe that's an indication that the medical examiner and maybe the police department, so you call that
Mhm.
agency-wide discrimination, maybe,
I
possibly.
guess.
I think
This
that's kind of what they were insinuating in that article.
yeah. Yeah, JC, the gentleman we were just speaking about, Mr. Hamad, was a teacher. And this here is Ilono Valley, 20 years old. He was found in February of 2012. He was a missing student. When I switch over to um, so I click on the link to go look at his article, and it doesn't show up for you guys over there unless I stop and go back. Wow. And these are few and far between, within the years 2008, 2012. Was there nothing in between 2008 and 2012, or was this just, I don't know, this what was provided in this research? We'll see. Um, but again, this is him. He was 20 years old. The body was found Lady Bird Lake near La Vaca and Cesar Chavez. Go figure, Joe. Um, it was recovered by the Austin Fire and Rescue. The past 10 days, while Ilano was missing, had been periods of anxious waiting for the university community. So he was a student. We are saddened by the news of Ilano's death. Excuse me, guys, I got the wrong. Let me get closer. Our sincere condolences go out to his family and friends, said the university spokeswoman. Campus ministry will hold a memorial and mass. Update on Monday, 2/20. Austin Police Department received a call at 8:42 a.m. on Monday reporting the body found in Lady Bird Lake. They are investigating it as a suicide, according to the Austin American Statesman. So that's another individual that 2012 that they've said was a suicide.
Interesting.
And this one, this is 2014. Eron David was 25 years old. This is the one that I was telling you. It says, was last seen alive when his Uber driver dropped him off in front of the Holiday Inn Hotel, which is in close proximity to the lake. That was down there by that boat landing where you were down there videoing. And this was Julio Santos III. He was 22, found June 7th, 2015. I saw an interview with his sister. Last seen by a food truck across from Brabola Bar near 6th and Red River Street in downtown around 2:30. He was found the same day. And this is Martin Gutierrez, like 25. We had spoke about him in your previous stream. Remember?
Yeah,
He's the one that, yeah,
that's why I started my live at the Luster Pearl, because that's where
yep,
they were at before they went to the alibi.
right. Was this case here, where his brother has spoke out and had seen video, and he said that this description of his brother when he was in the bar, he seemed to be normal. He appeared to be okay, but then as he comes outside of the bar, he notices a change in his behavior, like he's not coherent enough. You know what I mean? Like that quickly. So a lot of questions there with that case as well. And this was just a few of the cases I found on this site today, or this morning. Christian Pugh, 21. We had actually spoke about him a little bit. Like many others, Pugh was last seen in the Rainy Street district enjoying the nightlife with friends. He disappeared without others even noticing, but was later found on the brink of death. He was in a coma for a month. So far, he is the only person found in Lady Bird Lake to survive. Unfortunately, he has no recollection of the night events. Now, that's not the same guy. There was two. There was this guy, and the other gentleman that we see in the video interview that we saw on Joe's channel. So there's been so many, and these are, like I said, these are the ones that have the gaps in between the years, these earlier victims, and then you jump into the now when there's been so many back to back to back. In fact, that we just been talking about it, and Joe was just there visiting, and then this morning another body shows up. It's crazy.
It's way crazy.
It's a lot, you know. It really is.
So I did a quick search for Travis County Medical Examiner corruption. And come to find out, we need to do a dive into the Travis County Medical Examiner, Sam Andrews. He was actually found to change his autopsy results in a major case, and he's been sued for possibly harvesting organs from the bodies without permission.
What? So that would explain all the things and the rumors. Okay, because there was a rumor about some of these victims that I've not spoke about, and now I kind of understand why that rumor came about. But that explains this particular victim we were just reading about, the trauma to the body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
trauma cuts. Yeah.
I'm not sure he was medical examiner all the way back in 2008, but I'm looking at his LinkedIn profile. He was deputy medical examiner in Travis County from 2015 to 2018.
That's crazy. So when you just don't think those things are happening.
Oh, did we lose Salty? We lost Salty this time instead of me. That's funny. I think, unless I got bumped. Maybe I got bumped. Got to catch up. Oh, good grief. Internet service. Hey, Kelt, so let's talk a minute about the trail around the lake is fairly flat and even. So when you dam up a river like that, the level of the lake is pretty consistent all the way to the west end of it. So the trail around it is fairly consistent all the way around it and level. There aren't very many steep grades one way or the other. And the land down to the water is also fairly consistent, but there are some steeper areas like the one bank that I was at um, near the Holiday Inn boat ramp was fairly steep. And that's also, if you looked at my contour map on my live before we had to bail on that, the contour map of the lake bottom was also very steep in that area. So, like from the Holiday Inn west to Rainy Street, even west of Rainy Street, the from the bank down to the bottom of the lake is fairly steep, and you can get into 10 feet of water pretty quickly. Salty's back. There we go. It was you this time and not me.
Right? Sorry, guys. If it's we are just a hot mess express. That's okay. We get the job done. We try like hell. It's crazy that there's some similarities in a lot of these cases, and some have a little bit of a difference. What is there an MO here? Is there a link between any of these victim types and dates and seasons and area specific? It's crazy. We've unpacked a lot over the past 2 weeks looking into the cases. Um, the circumstances, how many victims there actually were, what the police say were happening in these cases. You going there and getting us some really good footage and to take a look at, and us looking at different articles and things and just kind of researching it together. Um, it's a little, it's hard not to shake your head at it.
Yeah. And when you Google county coroner or county medical examiner corruption and you come up with some responses in Google, it makes it all that much more mind-boggling.
Let me look. Let's see.
Travis County medical examiner
Okay.
corruption.
All right.
Dr. Sam Andrews. That also does make me want to go back to the prior medical examiners before he was there.
Yeah, like how far does that kind of thing go back?
Right.
Let's see.
Right.
Let's go.
And that article was insinuating that there might be some type of religious um, why is my mind drawing a
Okay.
blank?
So
Bias.
here's the thing from 2019. A former Travis County medical examiner who a local judge once said was disgusting behaviors now facing a lawsuit. What was his name again? Oh, Andrews, you said? Okay, let me see. Let me
Yep.
present let me present this here. Okay, this is an article that I found. Former Travis County medical examiner who a local judge once said showed disgusting behavior is now facing a lawsuit in Lubbock. Dr. Sam Andrews gained attention after he testified to changing his findings in an autopsy in the 2017 murder trial of Stephen Sylvester. The judge in the case added this caused a reliability issue with findings and said Andrews did not use best practices when performing the autopsy. As a result, the autopsy changes the jury convicted Brian Conchola of a Class A misdemeanor assault charge rather than murder. Due to Andrews' actions, Perkins says the nephew. This is a different case. I
Yes.
feel like, okay, dang. So they're harvesting organs and changing their findings and causing, oh, Lord. I feel like Travis County Medical Examiner's Office failed Stephen, um, said his aunt. We didn't get to choose who did the autopsy. When your loved one dies, that's not a choice you get to make. After leaving Austin in the fall of 2018, Andrews became the chief medical examiner in Lubbock. But Andrews continues to be plagued with legal troubles. A lawsuit was filed Monday that alleges that he and a colleague harvested organs from the body of a little girl during an autopsy with her parents' permission. Andrews is also accused of allowing a doctor who was not licensed in Texas to perform autopsies. The lawsuit was filed by a former employee of the Lubbock County Medical Examiner's Office. The lawsuit, the former employee claims she was fired after she reported the unethical practices being carried out by the Andrews and his colleagues. Andrews and other defendant, Dr. Evan Maschis, deny all wrongdoing. The Travis County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed to KXAN that Andrews resigned in October to take the job in Lubbock. But the lawsuit alleges that he began working in Lubbock on the interim contractual basis. Criminal defense attorney who represents Andrews had a hand in King's autopsy. Wow. So this guy's got kind of a little host of things going on. Harvesting a child's organs with the parents' permission, that's insane. And changing autopsy reports later, doing a really bad job. Mm. And this is the guy that's determining all these.
Christmas lights isn't responding.
Alexa,
Please
stop.
check.
Sorry. He's
Is that correct?
he was in charge of some of them, not all of them.
Oh, okay. It's not
If you
not our
look at it,
current.
right? No. If you look at his LinkedIn profile, he's actually a medical examiner in Lubbock, Texas now.
Yeah, that's what it's saying, that he's moved to Lubbock and now he's facing this lawsuit situation stuff. But man, how do you get charged with harvesting organs and then you get to move on and work somewhere else doing the same thing?
Well,
I don't.
it makes me wonder about that guy who was a surviving victim who had that scar all the way up and down the middle of his chest.
Holy cow. But see, we remember when I saw that, we were like, any of the other victims that we know of don't have reports like that. But then again, we're not getting the autopsies on all these victims. We're not getting anything. Only
We need those. We need
right.
those.
Yeah. And even the ones that have been identified, their families have seen their autopsies, obviously, but they're not all out there speaking and releasing information. So we don't know what toxicologies came back on a lot of these. They're like hoping people don't follow up. So they're not even posting updates about that kind of stuff. When it says pending investigation, sorry. Oh, the LinkedIn. Let me see if I can pull this up. Nope, I can't do it from here. Okay, sorry guys, I was checking something.
So he was the deputy chief medical examiner and the assistant chief medical examiner in Alberta, Canada, from 2006 to 2011, which makes me want to go. It makes me want to go look at some cases there.
Right, because this probably is a history thing. You know what I mean? It was a year ago. There was a story. I don't even know. I'm not even going to guess. It was somewhere. I don't remember where it was at, but there was two different sites. I believe it was. It was a funeral home, and the things they were doing. Not taking care of the bodies properly and not doing things properly, and it was a shock. It was like, wow, how can these people do this and get away with it? Right there in the open, things are happening. Things will happen. People will do crazy things for crazy reasons. Is it money? Are they getting paid to do things on the sly? I mean, if you're willing to harvest a child's organs because their parents said, hey, go ahead, how much money was involved for everything? Was these parents selling these organs? I mean, that could be done at the hospital. The hospital normally will approach a parent, or the child themselves or the loved one has already signed up to be an organ donor. You know what I mean? Um, you may get approached to say, would you think about this? And you got the option to do it right then and there in a facility, not in the coroner's office or whatever. Ugh. That is just weird to me. There's money involved. So that's not the first time that's happened.
So he became a COVID-19 online lecture series for attorney and law enforcement officers. He became a presenter. His
For attorneys
topics,
and law enforcement
yes,
officers?
yes, his topics of the online lecture series. So this is from a medical examiner to attorneys and law enforcement officers. His topics were natural deaths, quote unquote, natural deaths, blunt injuries, gunshot wounds, sharp injuries, and in November of 2020, bodies in water.
Uh, what in the
And
world?
then and then the last one in November of 2020, quote unquote, environmental deaths. Wow.
Environmental deaths? What he um no, I better not say
That
that
would be
out.
that would be like hypothermia and wow. So if okay, this is a big stretch, and in no way am I implicating him in anything nefarious or in any way related to any of these deaths. But if you were a medical examiner and you were an expert in these areas, could you not find a way to off them without being detected by another medical examiner? Or if they were under your care for having the autopsy done? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
Uh,
Those
this
those topics of those lectures though just blow my mind with all of these dead bodies that we have around Lady Bird Lake.
Let's see. Let me see if we can get. I don't know what this is that I. Is this gonna work? Let's see. Okay. This is some kind of report here. A former employee accuses medical examiner's office of body snatching. A lawsuit filed against Dr. Sam Andrews. Let's see. Uh-oh. Play lady. Let me get that bigger. Whoa. Okay, can't hear it, can we? Where's the volume thingy? Where'd it go? I don't know why we can't hear it. Hold on, let me see if I. Sorry. Okay, let me see. All right, let me try this again. Still can't hear it, can we? Jeez. Hmm. I guess that was just a video because it's not gonna let. I don't know why it won't let me hear it. Ugh. There's no thing there. Okay, I'll have to look at something different then. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. I'll stop to read chat real quick.
Kel, I think medical examiner is different than coroner. Like the county coroners in Indiana don't need to be licensed or even have any experience. But I think
Yeah.
to call yourself a medical examiner, you do have to be licensed. You have to have qualifications and a license.
Yes, my understanding that is the differences. A lot of county coroners, you have that, and they're appointed sometimes. They're done, things like that. And there's no, they can't do everything the medical examiner would do. Like, they can make like preliminary thoughts and things, and then pronounce the body person deceased and things of that nature. Make it official. And once they move to an autopsy stage, they have to go to the medical examiner's office. That's where that would be performed at.
Right, which is why Abby and Libby had to be taken to Terre Haute,
Hmm.
and by that time there was no way to determine an accurate time of death.
Yeah,
Oh, these
yeah.
rabbit holes that we go down on cases like this.
Before victims, 'cause they had to be taken to Washington even to get really good autopsies, performed. And you think about though, you don't think about those things, and sometimes, and it's just crazy. You hope they have good training and can let your body tell the story. You know what I mean? Like we see on TV, let it tell its story. Don't come in with assumptions. Let it tell you what happened and what. Then if you got idiots trying to interpret it, then you're in trouble, like in Libby and Abby's case. There's too many of these. They continue to call the same reasonings behind when they find a new body. Um, you know, Suicide or accidental drowning, or in the latest one this morning, experiencing homelessness and trying to stay warm. All that within minutes
But
of living.
nothing suspicious. So here's a
Mm-mm.
part of that video. Here's a part of that video that I wanted to play that I didn't get a chance to because losing my internet signal. But at one point in there, one of the reporters asks her, and we saw the one where is this related to any of the other ones? But then somebody else asked something like, "Is this is maybe it was a follow up to that question? Is this like the other bodies that have been found?" And her answer was, "Oh, no, no, no. There's nothing suspicious associated with this." So, what does that
Um,
mean? That there was something suspicious related to one or more of the others? Because I mean, that's inductive reasoning, but I mean, it still holds. I absolutely remember a point in that interview when she was asked if it was related to the other ones, and she said, "No,
yeah.
there's no because there's nothing suspicious." That
And
means
I
there
thought,
was something suspicious with the others.
yeah, I thought I had that set. Let me look. I thought that I actually saved it here. Okay, here we go. All right, this is it. Hang on, I'll pull it up. We can watch it again. All right, this was from today's little, they call it a press update. Deceased person found on the lake. Uh, Let me know if you guys can hear this time. See, I can't hear that. Can you guys hear it?
I am not hearing it.
Like, I don't understand why we can't hear it. Nothing has changed on my end. Um, there's no way to turn it up here, or like it's not on mute. Nothing to do there. It's crazy. Well, normally it would work. I don't know why it's not now. Let me just Try this. Like, there's literally no option to even like unmute or turn up anything. It's ridiculous. Not like normal. Not like normal. There's usually a little, the button right there, and you can mute or unmute and all the
Right.
things. It's not
It
even.
would be nice if it would be nice if it weren't a Facebook video. I mean, there should be one of
Yeah,
those.
that's probably it. And they don't have. They didn't put this on their Twitter. Let me because
They
I
didn't.
have.
There was somebody that asked where to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have them on Twitter, and I checked there, and they didn't have it. Let's see. I'll go look see if they have any actual updates there real quick, and I'll show you guys. Because I follow a lot of the different things on Twitter if we're following a case, or if I am, and there's something there, I will follow them. Not everybody.
Their official webpage doesn't have anything
Mm.
not related to
So
today anyway.
earlier at 8 hours earlier, it was APD is investigating a deceased person at the 300 zone of Lady Bird Lake. APD, PIO en route, briefing time and locations TBD. And then they came out like about an hour later. Um, Briefing for deceased person investigation will be at 10:50 a.m. on Brazo Street, just south of East Cesar Chavez Street. And then that was the police video that Joe was showing you earlier that I just attempted to show. That's what we're referring to. They didn't show it here on their Twitter. Yeah, it was only on their Facebook. Like, it's ridiculous. I don't even go to Facebook hardly unless I'm forced to. Like, for real.
Yeah, and that's to be honest, that's kind of unprofessional for a police department to just have a Facebook video of a public information release press conference.
A lot
Like
of them do.
I can understand also sharing it on Facebook, but you should have like a standard media stream of some kind or post it to your official website afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes they do it on Instagram, even when they were doing some of the, not the actual, well, some of the things that were the attorney that's working the case. He's not like an active attorney for Rex Sherman or anything, but he's like the victim's attorney. He does a lot of things and announces it via his Instagram. It's like, what the heck? But they're using social media to their advantage. But it's like, come on, with your actual law enforcement trying to get out statements and trying to get word out about different things, have a one-stop shop kind of place to go to, and then disseminate out to your social medias, like all your social medias, not just one. Damn Facebook. Like, that can be a rabbit hole, man, if I'm looking for something.
Oh my goodness. I pulled up that Facebook post and I forgot to read the comments earlier.
Uh-oh.
This gal named Crystal Wilson says, "Y'all think we're dumb or what?" And then the one before that, trying to stay warm by getting in the water. What are you even saying? So the same thoughts we've had, other people are having as well.
It's like, right, they think we're supposed to believe that. Like, that was crazy to say. Victim found in water. We believe they were trying to stay warm. Experiencing homelessness. Like, that didn't even make. It's like we're scratching our heads, going, "What in the water?" and trying to stay warm. Well, was she building a fire and fell in accidentally? Slippery slope and all.
I just so want to give these people, these police departments, I have the utmost respect for law enforcement officers that do their job and even do it adequately. Most of the ones I know do it well. And I have some really close contacts that are in law enforcement, and I just I have the utmost respect and admiration for them. And they literally put their lives on the line every single day. Every time you pull over a car at just a regular traffic stop, a routine traffic stop can turn into something a lot worse than that. And then you get these departments, and you get ISP and Carroll County that just make you shake your head and like give the whole law enforcement community just a well, it gives the public a bad perspective of the law enforcement community. Like they're either incompetent or they're corrupt or they're both, to be just feeding us this nonsense on a regular basis on these cases that we just want answers. Just give us answers. Just be honest with us. Just be direct with us, and just give us answers. Why there are 13 bodies found on Lady Bird Lake in the last 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, this like the blanket statement they've come out with anymore. It's gotten to the point where, come on, you quit saying the same thing over and over. And if it is all that, y'all fix it. Come up with something, a solution, a discussion on how to maybe correct it, um, make it safer for your people. I don't know. There's a lot of discussion that should be going on,
Well, there's a lot of truth telling that should be
in my
going on,
opinion.
and the public doesn't feel like that's what's going on. I mean, just the comments I've seen on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, towards the Austin PD means that we're not the only ones that feel this way.
No, there are people out there who do feel the same way and who are asking questions and who are watching, and especially some of the family members have put their thoughts in because they can't help but think the same thing when they're hearing the same things over and over that we're hearing. They've made the connection, even like I was saying earlier with that one a news piece, the lady who had her son and his age, and compared to some of the other victims that were also within her son's age range. It was because she done made some connections there. Um, so we'll have to put kind of together like a statistics thing and see what we can come up with going forward as we continue to do this. We didn't know when we got up today we were going to find out that somebody else had been found on the lake.
And we didn't know that Austin PD was going to feed us a word salad at a press conference.
I know we're such like, we ought to get some kind of true crime dressing going on. Like we need a true crime dressing emoji so we can toss that up there when we hear some word salad happening.
uh,
If
I
you
just
guys
I
haven't
see
had a chance, I'm sorry, go. We started this on Joe's channel earlier. He's experiencing some technical difficulties, so we ended up over here to finish the discussion out. But you guys go over there and like and sub up and review the video if you didn't get a chance that he did down there on Rainy Street when he was visiting.
Well, thanks for covering my butt and picking it back up where I dropped the ball.
No problem. You've done it for me several times. I owe you a couple.
Well, it looks like we've got some work to do on putting together some of these facts and trying to connect the dots where Ellie doesn't seem to be
Yeah,
interested in it.
I've got some notes. I've already got a list of all the, some names and dates, but now I've got some extra notes to also look at and try to figure a few things out if we can. Um,
All right.
Let's see what we come up with. You know what I mean? See if we can come up with something that might make sense.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up then if you guys are cool with that. Joe, do you have anything else you want to present before we do go?
Nope, I've ranted and I've gone beyond my rant probably.
um, so you're still out and about visiting, huh? Having a good time.
Yeah, enjoying the warmer weather, except for that silly trip up to the snow and cold yesterday.
But look, I don't have all that snow and cold. I mean, I had the cold. Don't get me wrong. I had the darn cold. But I don't have to deal with the snow. It's very rare. And if we do get it, it's not going to last long, and we're lucky if it hits the ground and doesn't melt. You know what I mean? It could be flurries, but yeah, I don't have that problem.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining and appreciate the chat and the back and forth. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
thanks, guys. I'm probably going to do a schedule live probably for tomorrow afternoon. There's some, so Joe, I don't even know if I've mentioned it to you. So it looks like for those of you that were following the other cases we were talking about recently, the Koberger case, it looks like Ann Taylor did go ahead and make her deadline to resubmit that Frank's motion. But of course, everything's under seal. So we don't know what her revised Frank's motion looks like, but the judge told her to get very specific, take out the 2,000 pages of nonsense, and get very specific here with what you want me to look at and get rid of everything else. So she had to do that. So apparently she did do that because at the day of the filing, it wasn't showing up. But a lot of times in the Idaho case, and especially now that they're over in Ada County, I don't know if it's going to take a day or two longer, or how fast they process their stuff. But usually, if it was due in a day, they would file that day, or it would show up a day or two later, depending if it was a weekend or not. So anyway, it looks like she'd made the deadline according to the dates on the documents, but they didn't show up on the docket until I think 2 days later, the day after, something like 2 days later. Yeah. So, but it looks like that happened. So we may have a live to go over some of the latest with that. And we'll see what else. And then we're going to be putting together some more stuff at this Lady Bird Lake. Take a look at and see what we can come
All
up
right,
with.
sounds good.
Yep.
And I've also got one. I've got somebody who is on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list for 20 years. He was taken off a couple years ago, but he is yet to be found dead or alive. So I want to do a little brief thing on that.
So he's still out there?
Possibly.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Do that. Okay. Sounds good. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming in. We do appreciate it. And y'all have a great night, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Everybody, have a good night.
Good night.